Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is Am I Overreacting? With updates. So let's get into it. Am I overreacting? My roommate's friends destroyed my stuff while they were drunk. Context, I had been at my boyfriend's place all day when I came home around 9 p.m. to this. Perfume, a plate my grandmother had gotten me for jewelry and stuff, a plant, and a decoration I had were all smashed on the ground. I'm really sorry if the screenshots are confusing. They're texts with my two roommates, so I was trying to make them as non-confusing as possible. I didn't block out the names of the two guys who had done it because it would have just made the whole story really hard to follow if you didn't know who done what parts of it. But I'm genuinely just really worked up about this whole thing. I know not that much stuff broke, but I'm honestly just really angry of it. Oh my god. Okay, the texts say she sent pictures, OP sent pictures of the mess. And she said, do you have any idea what happened to my room? I just got back from blank and things are just broken on the floor and everything that was on my dresser has been pushed onto my bed. And one of my perfumes is just smashed on the floor. And then the roommate said, no idea. Sorry. And then she said, I went in earlier to get a hairbrush and everything was fine. Maybe ask Chelsea, ? And then OP said, what time is that? She said at around like 2 p.m. Maybe an animal got in or something. OP said, I don't see how that could have happened. I'm actually so confused. WTF. I got the plate thing that's smashed on the floor from my granny to hold my jewelry and stuff. I'm so upset. And then the roommate said, I actually have no idea what happened. When I left, everything was fine. And then OP said, I'll ask blank. So she sent them to the other roommate. She sent the same things, the pictures, and asked the same thing. And the roommate said, OMG, WTF, I have no idea. I left around 8 p.m. and everything seemed okay to me. OP said, really? I'm so confused. What the F? No other part of the apartment is smashed up. It's literally only my room. And then she said, I've genuinely got no idea. Sorry, girl. OP said, blank is saying she has no idea what happened either. I'm so confused. Oh, okay. And then she texted the other roommate number 1 that she texted before and said, blank is saying she has no idea what happened either. I'm actually so confused. And then that roommate said, show me what blank said. So she sent a screenshot and that roommate said, this emoji, like the confused emoji, like that's suspicious. And then said, blank had a group of like 6 people over and they were all pre-gaming. So then OP goes back and texts the other roommate number 2, and said, did you have people over today? And she said, yeah, just from like 5 until 8 when we left. Why? OP said, blank said you were all drinking. Is that what happened to my room? Like, was someone drunk and something happened? If that's what happened, can you just tell me? And the roommate said, sorry, I didn't know how to tell you. OP said, okay, well, what exactly happened? Because like, what? And then the roommate said, I had a blank for drinks. Daniel and Connor were already there drinking before they got here, so they were pretty tipsy. At some point, they asked me who my roommates were, so I said you and blank. After I said your name, they just started talking about how weird they thought you were and how you were annoying and they don't like you and stuff. And they were laughing and stuff, so I just thought they were joking. But then Connor got up and started walking towards the bedrooms and stuff and asked me which one was yours, and I told him. And he went in there, and it was just quiet for like 30 seconds, and then we all just heard stuff smashing on the ground, and we went in to see what he was doing. And it was the stuff you sent me in the picture broken on the ground and all the stuff on your dresser shoved off. And it was Daniel that broke your perfume. When we all went in and Daniel saw what Connor had done, he picked up a perfume that had fallen on the ground and just kept banging it against your wall until it broke. And I tried to get them to stop, but they just kept laughing and saying you deserved it. Eventually, we all left and went out to a club. What? And then OP said, are you being effing serious? I've literally had about one conversation with both of them. Why did you tell him which room was mine? And why did you just let him go in? That's so effing weird. Like, what? And then you have the audacity to lie to me when I asked about what happened. If blank didn't tell me you had people over, you literally would have never told me. Do they plan on paying me back for the damage they've caused? Multiple of my things are broken. I genuinely don't give an F about whatever excuse you're typing for them. I want everything they've broken either replaced or the amount of money it makes up altogether. I don't even know if I can go down the legal route with this, but I'm gonna find out. Get me my money, and I'm being effing serious. And then the roommate said it only happened because they were drunk. They wouldn't have done something like that sober. I don't think they meant for it to get that bad. And I would have told you eventually. I just didn't know how to bring it up. Don't take any action yet, please. Don't go to the police or anything. OP said, get me the money, or I'll send you a list of everything that's broken and they can replace it. I don't care how you do it. Just fix it. You literally didn't even bother to try and hide it. You just left me with everything broken all over the place, and I don't care that they were drunk. That doesn't change anything whatsoever. Whatever weird effing thing they have against me doesn't explain any of this. And then the roommate said, none of us have the money to replace the stuff. That perfume alone is like $150. I don't even know what to do. The OP said, your friends came into my room and destroyed my stuff and you're complaining about not being able to replace it. The roommate said, look, I texted them and they said they're sorry. OP said, if they're that sorry, they can say it to my face. Tell them to replace my shit or I'm going further with this whole thing. And the roommate said, okay, just give me a while to figure it out. Just don't do anything, please. This picture is crazy. No, this is crazy. Holy shit. First of all, what the hell is with that roommate? If that were me and that I was that roommate that had those people over, first of all, they would be immediately kicked out of my house and they would not be coming back and I would not be going to the club with them after they just did this to my roommate. And then for her to just not even pick up anything, I would be picking up everything, cleaning up the glass, putting everything back, immediately texting my roommate and being like, I am so sorry this just happened. They're fuckwits. Like, I don't know why they just did this. I kicked them out and I'm never talking to them again. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to figure out how to pay you back or how, like, to get them to pay it back. Or you guys can all three of you can get your money, pile your money together and give her money back to her because you saying that perfume alone is $150. So, yeah, exactly. It's $150 and they broke it on purpose. How do you think I feel that my $150 perfume got broken and smashed to bits? So sorry, you have to pay for it and fix what you have destroyed. Like, what the actual hell is wrong with people? That's literally so crazy. They can actually fuck off. The fact that she didn't say anything and she denied that anything happened as well. What, you were just never going to say anything? Probably. She was probably going to act like a fucking burglar broke in. And she's like, oh my God, I don't know how that happened. You're an actual bitch. Okay, update 1. I'll comment this here because it's the most popular comment. I'm leaving to file a police report now. I was going to leave it a bit longer, but people are telling me that it's not a good idea. So my boyfriend is going to drive me there now and I'll update whenever I can. T, sister, you should do that. And this girl that says, please don't do it yet. Girl! I am doing it immediately. I am not going to give you any grace after you actually didn't give a one shite about what happened to my room. Because not only did you not tell me, but then when I asked you about it, you still didn't tell me and denied it. You deserve no grace. And those guys can actually fuck off. Update July 15th. Hello, everyone. I filed a police report a few hours ago, and the police said that they would go and talk to all three of them. I had to wait a while before they had any information for me, so that's why it's been a while. So basically, Chelsea gave the police a completely different story to the one that she gave me. She said that everything she said to me was true apart from the stuff about the perfume. Apparently, Daniel did pick up the perfume and started banging it against the wall, but he didn't break it. He wasn't able to break it, so he handed it to Chelsea and asked her to break it instead, and she did. They spoke to the two guys, and Connor said that Chelsea was the one encouraging them to break my stuff. Apparently, she even told them to break my laptop, but they didn't do it. He said that he did get up and go into my room, and Chelsea said to him while he was going in, quote, don't touch anything in there, in a really sarcastic tone, apparently. And he took that as a challenge, I guess. Daniel also gave them the same story, that she was the one encouraging them to break my stuff, and because they were drunk, they just did it. I hope that's everything and I didn't forget any parts. They said they're going to do a follow-up with Chelsea because her story doesn't match Daniel or Connor's story, and once they followed up with her, they'll let me know. I asked the police if they have any idea what they could be charged with, and they said possibly criminal trespass and a misdemeanor for the property damage. They would have to pay me back for everything and possibly community service. I plan to talk to the housing department as well about her destroying the stuff in my room and showing the damage. Hopefully something is done about that. And look at that. Your ops just, sometimes they happen to be right under your nose. Sometimes you happen to be sharing a fucking wall with them. Your haters will truly be acting like you're best friends and then behind your back be doing this. Like, that is just actually crazy to me. And it seemed like they were friends. So, or maybe they weren't. I don't know. Maybe they weren't friends. But this does not seem like someone that would be friends. That is, I actually can't believe, I would literally be punching this girl in the face. For real. For real.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
There's another update. It says, hi, I'll leave whatever updates I have here. Thank you all for the advice and support I've been getting. As I said, I'm not very familiar with legal stuff, and your comments helped a lot, so I appreciate it. So I have some updates, and this will probably be long. The police told me that they were going to have to recall Chelsea since her story didn't match up with the two guys. While they were doing that, I went back into our apartment to see if there was any more damage or evidence I could use to help get Chelsea evicted. I was planning on going to the housing department. When I got back into my room, I noticed the wall was damaged. As I said, Daniel and Chelsea both hit my perfume bottle off the wall repeatedly to try and break it. And while they were doing this, they damaged the wall in the process. The paint is chipping off of it, and there is noticeable dents. I took multiple pictures of it. Unfortunately, the housing department was not as helpful as I would hope they would be. I showed them the police report and all the texts and pictures. They basically just said, we'll look into it. And they took my phone number. Not much else was said about it, but I'm just going to keep pushing them about it until something happens. Eventually, the police did get back to me. They said that Chelsea basically admitted everything and that she was encouraging the guys to go into my room and break my stuff, but she didn't plan for it to get that bad and that she feels sorry about it and that she just broke the perfume because she got caught up in the moment and didn't realize she was doing something wrong. She also blamed it on them being drunk. While we're on the topic of the drinking, they informed me that Chelsea is going to be charged with underage drinking also. Me and Chelsea are both 20 years old. Daniel and Connor are 21, so they won't get charged for it. At the moment, she is looking at being charged with criminal trespass, destruction of property, intent to cause harm, and underage drinking. Connor is looking at being charged with all of those except the underage drinking. Daniel is only likely being charged with criminal trespass and intent to cause harm because even though he attempted to break my perfume, it wasn't actually him that did it. This could all be subject to change, but this is just what the police told me is likely to happen. They will have to pay me back for the damages caused and also are looking at community service. This is everything I can remember right now. More stuff might come up, but at the moment, I'm going to try and keep pushing the whole situation with the housing management. Good. And this girl better, I'd be scared to live with this girl after, honestly. Like, I'd be so scared. I'm already scared that, like, someone's going to murder me in my sleep. And me living with someone that hated me secretly and then, like, could do this to someone that they're living with that probably they're friends with. No, I feel like she would be plotting her revenge against me. And I would be so scared. I would literally be locking my door and wearing, like, a bulletproof vest to sleep or something. Okay, update July 16th. This is the last update. I got in touch with the dean of students, which many people told me to do as the housing department probably weren't going to be helpful. So thank you for that. He organized a meeting with me. I took a copy of the police report to him and I showed him all of the pictures and the videos I had taken of my stuff and the damaged wall. Long story short, he said that this type of behavior is unacceptable and that he reprimands every individual who thinks this was okay to do. He asked me if he could make copies of the photos I had, which I obviously allowed him to do. He told me he was going to pull Chelsea for a meeting where they could address the damages she caused, underage drinking in the building, which was prohibited, and basically confirmed he was going to evict her and have her pay for the wall damage. He then got into the more psychological side of things, and he asked me if Chelsea had ever made me feel unsafe before this incident happened. I told him the truth, that she hadn't made me feel unsafe, but the energy around her has just always been uncomfortable. Chelsea and I have never gelled as people. She's very loud and extroverted, and I am the complete opposite of that. So we just never gelled. But it was never anything personal to me. Those are once again really the only updates I have. The progress with the actual case against the three of them will take a bit longer, but there has at least been progress with the living situation. I'm still with my boyfriend, and I'm safe. Thank you sincerely again to everyone who has reached out, given me advice the past few days have been so draining, so I appreciate the words. Wow. Thank God for that, Dean. Like, thank you, King, for that. This relevant comment is asking what perfume it was, and she said it was the Addict perfume by Dior. I got it for my sister as a birthday present a few months ago. Thank you about the jewelry holder. I called my grandmother earlier and she said she already has a new one she can give me, so it's definitely helped me feel better. Aw, love you, Grandma. That's so sweet. That's so fucked up. Imagine if her grandma was dead and they broke that plate. Like, they didn't know what the meanings of the items that they were breaking were. Imagine. I think regardless of if she's dead or alive, you still have every right to be upset. But, like, that's fucked up. I can't believe people would do that. Like, I thought my old roommate fights were bad, like, because I've had a couple. I would say, like, the biggest one was just one fight with my roommate because it's honestly so stupid. Like, and I was young, and I don't think that I really did anything bad. I'll explain it to you really quick, okay? So when I was, like, probably 22. I was probably 22 at the time. So I lived with 3 other girls, and I had already lived in this place for probably a year before this girl had moved in. One of my roommates was moving to Nashville, so I had to find a replacement for her, and she moved in, okay? And I was really nice to her all the time, and I never was ever, like, mean to any of my roommates unless, of course, I had a reason to be, and, like, they were being bitches to me or something. Then I would be a bitch back to them, okay? Sorry. And so then we had all gone in on, like, a $250 maybe. It was probably like a $250 couch from Facebook Marketplace. We got the couch. It was in our living room for a year. And then at the end of the year, when this roommate specifically was moving back to her hometown, which is like a few hours away, we were like, what do we want to do with the couch? And do you guys just want to pay me out for it? Or do you want to sell it and get a new one, and then we can, like, split the cost? So we were like, let's sell it and get a new one. The roommates that were staying, all 3 of us were staying except this one roommate. And then no one offered to, like, do anything about it. We just kind of left it at that. And I was like, okay, does anyone want to put it on Facebook Marketplace? No one was responding to me. So I was like, I'll put it on Facebook Marketplace. I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I put it probably $50 or like $75 more. I can't exactly remember how much more, but it wasn't that much more. I put it up for, like, just a little bit more so that if people were, like, lowballing us, then they would lowball us back to the price that we originally paid for it, if that makes sense. But the plan was that we were going to sell the couch. Everyone was going to get their money back. And then I was going to buy a couch with my own money, and just, like, because it was just too much work to have everyone split the couch money and then figure out what to do with it at the end of every year. I just wanted to, like, buy a couch that would just stay there, and then I could get rid of it whenever I wanted, if that makes sense. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace. I chatted for, like, a week with a bunch of different people. Obviously, like, if you're familiar with Facebook Marketplace, you know how it goes. You get some scammers here and there, and you get other people that, like, really want it. This one older couple really wanted it, and they were like, I will pick it up tomorrow, and I'll pay you right now before I even come and pick it up. And I was like, oh, that's great. And they offered full price for it. So mind you, this was probably I'm just going to say $75-ish more than what we originally paid for it. And I scheduled a whole, like, time for them to come pick it up when I would be there. None of my other roommates were home at the time, and so I made sure that I was going to be there so that when they got there, I could open the door for them and help them out and stuff. And then my roommate, the one that was moving out, came home early and asked them how much they were paying for it, which was like $75 more than the original price, okay? She got really mad at that because I was only going to pay them back how much they had paid for it. Does that make sense? And then I was going to keep the extra because I was like, I thought I deserved it, okay? Sorry if that's bad. I still personally, to this day, it's been like 5 years, and I don't think it's bad. I think the whole premise was that they all got their money back. I wasn't taking money from them, and I feel like I deserved a little extra money for setting everything up and being the one to put everything on Facebook Marketplace and talking to everyone and then being there when they were picking it up and stuff, you know, like for the organization and me putting it on there. I don't know. That's my take on it. And she actually flipped the fuck out on me. Furious, yelling and screaming at the top of her lungs at me, threatening me because I was leaving to Chicago for that weekend, saying that if I didn't get things figured out, I would be sorry, because she was like gonna fuck everything up. And I was really scared that she was gonna come in my room while I was gone and like fuck everything up or something, because she's like, if you don't fucking pay me that extra money, you're gonna be sorry that you fucked with me. And it was really crazy. And I was like so scared. I literally woke up in the morning at like 9 a.m. and she immediately came in my room to yell at me once more. Again, after she had already yelled at me. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I was like just waking up, and then I was like, hello? Why? Oh, not me having a hole in my armpit. Why are you freaking out at me in my own bedroom when I'm just waking up? Like, please give me some time to make some coffee or something, girl, before we have this conversation. But she was so mad about it. So I was like, okay, I'm scared of you, actually, and I'm scared that you're going to destroy everything that I own in my room while I'm gone. So I will pay you the money. It ended up being like, she was forcing me to pay everyone, not just her. She wanted me to split the extra money I had made with everyone. So it ended up being like literally $20 each, which was just crazy to me. But yeah, that's the story. So honestly, I stand behind it. I felt like I was like really doing something wrong because of how badly she was freaking out at me and how much she was yelling at me. And I was like, oh my God, am I a terrible person? Like, am I genuinely the worst person on earth right now for doing this? But then as time went on, and now I'm older now, I don't think I was in the wrong for that. I don't see how I could be in the wrong for that. I think she just hated me. That's the story. It's okay if you disagree with me, but honestly, I stand 10 toes behind that. Like, sorry, I get a commission. I get an extra commission for doing all the work. But we're going to move on to the next story, okay? Sorry, that was so long and drawn out. But the title of the next story is, Am I Overreacting? My husband didn't feed the baby again. I, 23 female, am the primary caregiver for our son. I watch him all day until his dad, 25 male, gets off work around 6 p.m. I go into work from 7 p.m. to 12, and during that time, he has to just make sure the baby stays alive during his sleep, as the baby's bedtime is at 7. I had a burnout a few weeks ago and knew I couldn't keep this up. Watching him all day, going to work, and then watching him all night was killing me. So I had to tell my husband that he needs to wake up at least once at night to feed the baby. He does, sometimes. For some reason, if the baby wakes up, he will hand him to me while he warms a bottle. I don't do this. If he wakes, I leave him in the crib and warm one. I don't see the point of both of us being awake, but he will wake me up out of dead sleep and give me our son and then take him back to feed him. The bottle takes 4 minutes to warm. During those few minutes, he will lay back in bed and somehow fall asleep so the baby doesn't get fed. He did this again last night for the 20th time. I have told him that if he cannot put the baby to sleep, 98% times he can't, to hand him to me. Baby is now at the age where he prefers me over dad and sometimes will fight sleep for hours until he sees me. I assumed that's what he was doing. He had fed the baby and couldn't put him down, so he gave him to me, but he had not. The baby will fall back asleep on me, whether he has eaten or not, but he'll toss and turn and eventually wake back up from the hunger. I sleep terribly when the baby is on me because I'm not a back sleep, and my brain knows the baby is besides me, so it's on panic mode so that I don't roll on top of him. I hate co-sleeping, especially with all of us in bed. The whole point in him waking up to feed the baby is to let me get a few more hours of sleep. I'm not getting that, and now our baby won't settle for sleep again because he's starving and relentless. So me and the kid have been up since 5. This isn't the first time he's done this. He will make bottles and just fall back asleep, and I end up having to be the one to do everything. I just don't understand how he can sleep knowing his son is hungry, tired or not. Like, I'm not tired too. I watch his son all day. I clean every day. I cook every day. And then I go to work and have to come back and watch the baby all night. I know parenthood is by definition a lack of sleep, but it's not supposed to be solely on one parent. I'm seriously contemplating this relationship because I have voiced my opinion multiple times on this issue. Hell to the no. That is so annoying and frankly dangerous also, because imagine if both of them, because this poor girl is tired as hell, and imagine if she like also fell back asleep because she was just so tired from doing literally every single thing. And on top of that, working and then taking care of the kid at night. Oh my God, that's insane. But honestly, so common for mothers to be taking on all that. And the dad is just like falling asleep. How could you not be like on edge while you're like trying to fall asleep? You're like half asleep because you know that your baby's hungry, so you need to feed them. That's what I don't understand. It's like I could never fall asleep. When I was younger and I would babysit my niece, we like sometimes she always loved to like nap with me, so I would nap with her, but I couldn't. And we had like a little thing, or my sisters co-slept with her for most of her life, and I know people have their things about that. Everyone has a different opinion about that. For me personally, I would never do that because I know I would never be able to get sleep from that, because I would be up like I would be 75% awake and 25% asleep the whole time. Wait, is that the right percentage? Yeah. And so I personally wouldn't do that, but I don't know what the like studies are and stuff, and it worked for her, so it's fine. But so whenever I would watch her, she would always take naps with me, and she would like sleep on top of me usually, and I would be sleeping on my back, and I would never be fully asleep ever. I would never fully fall asleep because I would always be so nervous. Like I didn't want to roll on top of her or anything, so I was so aware the whole time, and it was just like resting my eyes basically, like my grandma always used to tell me she was doing, and then she would fully fall asleep. Okay. Anyways, she's not overreacting, obviously, and I would also be heavily contemplating that relationship, and I'd be heavily contemplating the fact that I had a kid with him to begin with, because you need to fucking man up and be a good dad. And it should not always fall on one parent. It's so ridiculous. And unfortunately, most of the time, that one parent is always the mother, because that's just how it happens, probably because we're like maternal. And even though we want them to do something, if that's not being done, obviously we're going to take over and be like, okay, well, I guess if you're not going to do it, I have to do it. And then that's like, even though I would love for you to fucking help me and actually be a father, but you're not doing that. So now I have to do that. This person said, first off, do not co-sleep with the baby. Super dangerous. It happens, sure, but it only takes 1 second for the baby to be blue and gone. Don't ever do that again. Next step, tell him he's not allowed back in your bed until the baby is fed. End of story. I have triplets and I did night feeding, and I never once just handed my kids back. That being said, some dads have a hard time adjusting to the new regime because they didn't carry that baby, and it just takes time to stop caring about oneself over another. Don't get resentful. He can do better, and you need to tell him as much. Good luck, mama. OP said, yes, we don't co-sleep. If he's in the bed, one of us is awake, or I wait till he's knocked out to transfer him because I can't sleep with him in the bed beside me. I definitely think it's a slow process. I just asked him like 2 weeks ago to start helping, and he just got this new job, so it's definitely a balancing thing in my opinion. This says OOP on her son's age and why it is necessary for him to have his feedings. OOP said 10 months, but he has an ostomy bag and needs sodium supplements, so he needs at least one feeding at night. He won't drink salt water or else his electrolytes will drop too low. He wasn't allowed to start solids for a bit being in the NICU so long, plus his surgeries afterwards, so he is just now starting to accept solids. It's a work in progress, and we clean his mouth after he eats like his dentist advises. Okay, the update. 3 days later. For starters, my husband missing a feed doesn't hurt his medical condition because I make sure I double the amount before bed. This is allowed. And I'm always up around 4 to 5 a.m. to give him a feed regardless, so he always gets his sodium supplements. Look up Hirschsprung's disease if you're interested to learn about our baby's condition. Also, I think some people got confused and thought him missing a feed was every night, but it only happens about twice a month. Still frustrating when it happens, though. Anyways, the update starts here. Saturday, we had a big discussion about sleep and feedings. I asked him why he hands the baby to me, and he said he does it because he can't hold him himself while getting milk and mixing the supplements in, and keeping him in the crib to cry will wake me up more. He normally will take the baby back 98% of the time. He said he will stop and bring the baby into the living room and let him cry there while he gets everything done. I asked why he falls asleep. and he told me that he genuinely does not mean to, and I believe him. A lot of people went straight to calling him awful and a shit dad, but I see this man every day and can promise he is anything but that. He's just lazy, or so I thought. I brought up sleep apnea because there were tons of people saying to look into it. I asked him to tell me what sleep was like for him, and I'll give you the short version. He wakes up constantly because he feels like he loses breath and his heart stops, but he does fall right back asleep, so he doesn't mind it too much. He sweats so much he ends up being cold from being drenched. It's bad. His mouth is always dry and hoarse from his obnoxious snoring. It's god-awful. During the day, he has micro naps, so his head is constantly bobbing at work. He has to roll the windows down with the AC at full blast and music at max, so he stays up while driving sometimes. Another thing that I myself have diagnosed him with, so I could be wrong, is sexsomnia. Look it up. I did this years ago because when we first started dating, I noticed at night when we were dead asleep, he would initiate sex every night. I went along with it, but when we would wake up in the next morning, he would always joke about how I was a wild card at night and couldn't keep my hands off of him. I was baffled and told him I was just following his lead, and he too was baffled. He had no memory of anything he did at night to me or himself. He still doesn't know when he does it. In our corresponding, he has no idea. Well, guess what one of the causes for sexsomnia is? Sleep apnea. He has done all of these things since I've known him. Also, he sticks his arm straight in the air and strokes it while he sleeps. Very creepy, and just want to let you know what I deal with. We came to an agreement because he fought me on seeing a doctor, that he would have telemed, virtual appointments with a doctor, and if they advised us to come in, we would. Yesterday before he went to work, I set up the earliest appointment that we could get. No surprise. She heavily advised he come in and start a sleep test with the clinic with all his symptoms, including my awkward nighttime stories. Really weird telling a doc your husband is a sex sleeper. The arm thing is apparently a self-soothing thing too, by the way. He was on the fence, but she also said they offer a sleep test at home kit and we could do it ourselves. However, I don't know if I trust it. She said it's not as reliable and there could be issues that we wouldn't know about. We have an appointment next week to see a doctor in person about this, and we'll decide then. But I will leave it to him as it's his sleep and his comfort. The kit is covered by our insurance, but it comes with the risk of being less accurate. We are making a sleep schedule, but knowing he might have a sleep disorder, I don't want him waking with the baby. As of now, we agreed I would cut my hours down at work, but that way I'm not so tired. I can handle less sleep with less hours worked. I am upset with him because I only knew about his snoring and sweating. I had no idea he had trouble staying up at work or driving, and that's frustrating because what if he had to watch the baby alone one day, or if he hurt someone or himself on the road? We're definitely going to have another conversation about honesty and communication because these issues could have been solved months ago. Thank you for listening, and thank you for telling me to bring up sleep apnea. This literally could be saving my husband's life and our relationship. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Damn, that's crazy. My dad has sleep apnea as well, and his snoring is actually so annoying. I'm so glad my boyfriend doesn't snore because I don't know if I would be, like, I think that would be a deal breaker for me, honestly, because I can't sleep as it is, so, like, there would be no way that I would be sleeping at night. We'd have to have separate rooms, and then it's like, I don't want to have separate rooms. I like sleeping with my significant other. That would actually suck so bad. But also, like, my dad's heart also would, like, skip beats or whatever. I don't know what the term is. I don't know if it would stop or what, but it would, like, skip beats because he would be, like, suffocating in his sleep because of his sleep apnea. So he is that big machine. But he never, like, had problems. Like, he wouldn't fall asleep during the day or anything, I don't think. But yeah, he still has to have that sleep. He's had that sleep mask for so long. I can't even imagine sleeping with that. Oh my god, hell no. There'd be no way I would be able to sleep with that big ass thing on my face. The top comment says, this dude's gonna sleepwalk into an early grave if he doesn't take his apnea seriously. And then okay said, yeah, when my mom got diagnosed, a doctor mentioned that a lot of people who once would have been showing up in emergency rooms with a heart attack are instead simply not, because they got a CPAP 10 years ago. The constant adrenaline jolts from nearly suffocating in your sleep are really stressful for your heart, as it turns out. That's actually crazy. That's crazy. Why do you suffocate in your sleep, though? What even is that? Like, what even is sleep apnea? Why do you stop breathing? I have never even known. I just knew, like, that my dad had that and, like, what the doctors said when he did his sleep test. But does your brain just shut off and it's like, okay, we can stop breathing now? I honestly never thought that it was that serious. I always thought like my dad could go without it, but he just like needs it to help him with his snoring. I never realized that it was like that serious. I feel like my dad also had like problems with his heart. Or maybe that was my grandpa, I don't know. But thank God they got that taken care of, especially with a baby. That's just so dangerous. And then almost falling asleep while you're driving is also very wild to me, that you would not go to the doctor or like say anything about that, especially like having a baby as well and knowing that I don't know. I mean, it's not his fault, obviously, but if you're falling asleep while driving, you have to put your air conditioning at a certain level and you're head bobbing at work. I think it's something more than you're just not getting enough sleep. We're going to move on to the next story, and the title is, Am I Overreacting? My boyfriend gave his mother the dress I wanted for my birthday. I, 23 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 26 male, for the past 3 years. About 2 months ago, while we were out shopping, I saw this really gorgeous, amazing dress that was just perfect for me and in my favorite color. He looked at the dress and said it was beautiful, but it was rather expensive. It was $200, so we didn't end up getting it. For weeks after this, I would constantly talk about the dress to him and how I couldn't stop thinking about how beautiful it was, and I hope one day I could save to buy it since we've been budgeting a bit lately. He would hear about this dress from me all the time and talked about how great he thought it would look on me. So yesterday was my birthday, and we had a little get-together with some members of both of our families to celebrate. Except when his mother arrived to our house, she was wearing the exact dress in the exact color. I was stunned. I thought that he must have told her about it and she went and got one, but it turns out that wasn't the case. In my surprise, I said, OMG, there's no way. That's the same dress I was looking at and dying for months. And she replied saying, oh, really? Zane, my boyfriend, gave it to me as a gift last month. I was shocked and confused, even more so when my boyfriend gave me the birthday gift he got me, and it was a gift card for Sephora for $50. For the rest of the night, I sat quietly in a corner in silence and confusion. I felt hurt and was lost in my head as to what was going on. My boyfriend and everyone was blissfully unaware and happy the entire night, and I didn't want to ruin the mood, so I started to try to put on a good face. But I can't shake the feeling of being hurt. A part of me feels like I'm overreacting and acting spoiled and entitled. Am I? I just need to know if I need to calm down and not be upset about this. So he wants his mom to be his girlfriend. That's all I get from that. That's all I have to say. Honestly, period. He wants to date his mom. Period. That's all. That's really all I get from that story. Like, that's just wildly outrageous. That is wildly outrageous and so creepy to me. You mean to tell me the dress your girlfriend has been begging for, that you definitely discovered with her, you got for your mom? And you didn't say anything to your girlfriend about it? That's so outrageous. Ew. I'm actually creeped out. Like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but like to me, it seems like a big deal. You know? That seems like a big, creepy deal to me. What is their history together, please? I gotta know. Okay, there's an update. I finally got the nerve to ask him and to straight up ask him about everything, and his response was that he thought I had to be humbled a bit because I got way too overly excited about something as trivial as a dress. He thought it would be fun to see my reaction to it all. His mother had no idea about any of this and just thought her son was giving her a gift. I'm so upset and hurt that I just called my mom to come get me and will be staying with her for a few days while I figure out the next steps, but I'm not going back to him. Period, sister. Don't go back to that man. He's weird AF. You need to be humbled, so I'm going to get my mom the dress that you've been dying to get. And what? The math ain't mathing, love. Okay, second update. First of all, I want to say thank you and express my gratitude to all the people who have shown support. The kind words mean so much to me right now. Me and Zane are over for good. He keeps calling me, but I won't answer, and there's nothing he can say or do to change that. I've realized and taken this as a sign of nature he had kept hidden so well until now. Also, someone on Threads has copied and pasted my post word for word and is pretending it happened to them. I don't know why someone would want to use my pain to clout farm, but people are crazy. Here is the link. Apparently, some people are trying to donate money via Venmo to this account to buy the dress and to show support. I do not send this person anything. They are a fraud. Please be safe. That's wild. People doing that is so crazy. I mean, scammers are going to scam, okay? So, whatever. But that's why I don't ever want to put like any GoFundMes from Reddit, because although, of course, I believe a lot of the stories on here, it can be the case that people having GoFundMes on here, and like I'm not going to try to spread that to you guys and be like, you guys should donate to this, even though I don't know for sure if that person is real and if that's the true person that's getting the money, you know? So I never want, like, because I know a couple episodes ago there was a GoFundMe talked about in the story and people were asking for the link, but I'm just simply don't want to be responsible for people donating to a GoFundMe that could possibly not be like a legit GoFundMe. Okay, the top comment says, sounds like he did it on purpose. He probably knows you have good taste and used that to get a present for his mom. Was it for anything or just a gift out of nowhere? He had to know you'd see her wearing it. What was he thinking? It sounds like he wasn't, to be honest. Sounds like he's a mama's boy and didn't put in any effort for your gift. I'd be livid. Don't put up with this BS. You deserve better. If you want to talk it out with him, do that and see what he says. But I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it to me. But if you do, mention how it was obvious that you wanted that dress and how hurtful it was that he gifted it to his mom and not you when he knew you loved that dress. And then this person edited their comment and said, too many people are commenting in response to me about how OP said he did it on purpose and that I should have read the post. Guys, she updated her post a couple hours after I posted my comment. If you read my other comment about how he did it to see how she'd react, I guess I got it right. Not that it matters. I'm just happy she left that asshole. Same, thank God. Successful bitch said, it reminds me of the lady who only wanted this very specific purse for Christmas. Went on and on about it. They go out and buy it with his daughter, not hers. Christmas rolls around, no purse under the tree. Dude told her he gave it to the daughter instead because she liked it. A lot more drama, but I think the daughter stole it and wrote her name inside, so when the guy tried to get it back, there was no way that she would see it. He concocted some story that made him look like shit just to avoid having to admit the truth. OP said, a part of me also had this thought. Was this intentional and planned? And then I thought I was being paranoid and they would never do that. Why is this bird actually screaming? Like, how can I hear that through the fucking walls and the windows? But then, thinking more, I then thought it had to be done on purpose. My head is in circles trying to piece it together. Yeah, let that man go. Let that man go. Goodbye. Bye, King. Have fun dating your mommy. Because that's truly what I recommend, honestly. Like, I don't really see why you need a girlfriend when you got a built-in girlfriend in your mom. So, look no further. Look no further. That's just genuinely scary to me, and I'm so happy she realized that that was fucked up and immediately ended it, because a lot of people would be like, well, I think I should give him another chance. But then his response definitely put the nail in the coffin of being like, you deserved to be humbled. What the fuck do you mean you deserve to be humbled? Because I wanted a dress that I thought was cute? Who are you? Okay. Sounds like something a red pill man would say. Nasty. 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 But anyways, that's all the Am I Overreacting stories I have for you today. So let me know what you think or you thought about those in the comments, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. I don't know if you can comment on Apple Music or not, or Apple Podcasts, but leave me a comment wherever you see fit. And I love you guys so much. Seriously. I'm giving huggies to all of you. Not the diapers, like actual physical hugs. And I couldn't imagine, I'm so actually so grateful for the fact that I started this a year ago, because even though I don't have any more physical friends than I did a year ago, I feel like I have so many virtual friends. Although I wish I could meet every single one of you, and I wish you all lived near me so that we could all hang out and like go get coffee and stuff. I am just so grateful for all of you. And I just seriously love you to the moon and back, okay, love? And I'll talk to you later in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Mwah.
Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.